7 a.m. and it's now time for the morning watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, what are these changes in motor vehicle registration and fitness? And in the second watch, what are the rules for the so-called silly season? Directions, or that should be directives, from the Registrar of Political Parties, re the political campaign. For our social media question, we ask, are you looking forward to the changes in motor vehicle registration and fitness process? Why or why not? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel. And also on WhatsApp, 876-997-3125, using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I quote.
All right, good morning. Today's I quote says, "In a war, it is not about who wins, but what is left." This one from Bertrand Russell.
Okay, good morning, Joker.
Good morning.
Enjoying the Grace Thrillers music, man.
Yes, I.
Yeah, the first watch after this break.
One Tang packet, some water, and suddenly you've got for everyone. That's the magic of Tang. It goes a long way and tastes even better, refreshing, fruity, and now with vitamin C, D, zinc, and fewer calories. It's the drink that fills your glass and the moment. Tang, more flavor, more to share, more to enjoy. Tang, the drink that starts the fun.
Are you tired of being sick? Looking for a breakthrough in your life? Do you need power to fulfill your purpose? Then you won't want to miss Revive, Heal, and Activate, a powerful healing conference hosted by Healing and Breakthrough Ministries International, July 18 to 20 at St. Andrew High School. Register now for free at healingandbreakthrough.org.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, recently, in a newspaper report entitled, "Let Us Embrace This Change," the Director General of the Island Traffic Authority sought to encourage the public to support, and I quote, support the transition, noting that while minor challenges may arise, the change represents meaningful progress. So, what really are those changes? And what might those minor challenges be? Well, to shed more light on these issues, we have joining us this morning Ms. Maris Horton, Chief Corporate Communications Officer of the Tax Administration of Jamaica, Mr. Dante Matthews, Communications Manager of Island Traffic Authority. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Yes, that's Mr. Matthews, of course. Ms. Horton with us?
Yes.
Maris Horton?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Good to have you both with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes. I begin with you, Maris Horton. When And what are the coming changes in motor vehicle registration and fitness from a
Certainly.
TAJ perspective?
From a TJ's perspective, we'll speak with you regarding the motor vehicle registration certificate.
Mm-hmm,
And it comes into effect on July 21, both do.
mm-hmm,
The fitness as well, but Dante will address that.
mm-hmm,
So come July 21, which is Monday, the changes will take effect. What are the main changes? The changes here speaks to no more decal will be issued. No more,
And a
no
decal, a
more.
decal is what?
That's the sticker.
Uh
That's the sticker.
huh.
No more sticker. You know that sticker you put on your windscreen every time you renew your license.
Yes.
Yes. So that will no longer be in effect. Neither will you get that certificate, that printed certificate that you'd also get along with the decal. Why? Because come July 21, those will be issued electronically. So no more paper where that is concerned. In addition to the no more paper, no more sticker, no more print certificates, you will also be getting an additional option of registering your vehicle for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, what obtains, you can do it for 6 months or a year. And added to that, now you'll have the option to do it for 24 months or 2 years. So that's also a significant change. So it means less often you'll have to visit the tax office or doing it online, as you can renew online for private vehicles. So that's another significant change. But I wanted to add, though, that with the changes, and because we're going electronic, we're reminding persons that they need to have an email address when they're doing their transaction. So when they come to the tax office as of Monday, they'll need to have an email address, and it does not have to be theirs. It can be one that they have access to. So for an older person, it may be their sons, their daughters, their grandchild's email that the person can get the information and help them along the way. So those are the main changes that you will see come Monday, July 21, as it relates to motor vehicle registration.
Yes. Um, Dante Matthews, uh,
Yes.
what changes should motorists expect to experience when interfacing with members of the Island Traffic Authority in the coming days, especially in regards to fitness, I believe?
Yes. All right. So just like the motor vehicle registration, we're going paperless. So no more paper certificate of fitness. That will also be issued electronically. So that's a change. In addition to that, motorists will now have longer validity periods. So under this new regime, new vehicles will qualify for 5 years of fitness certificate.
Mm,
Then you have those motor vehicles that are 10 years or younger, they will qualify for 3 years. And 10 years and old, well, over 10 years will qualify for the usual 1 year certificate. So those are the changes as it relates to the validity periods. And as I mentioned, the certificate will be issued electronically. When they come to the service hub, they will need to present the payment receipt obtained at TAJ, and they can pay that inline or online. And they'll receive an inspection receipt that they'll write the receipt number on and the email address to give to the examiner. And once the vehicle has been deemed fit and the data has been entered, they'll be required to log on to a portal with the reference number and the chassis number in order to check their digital fitness. So they won't be issued with a physical fitness certificate as everyone is used to.
mm, interesting stuff ahead. Mary's Horton, uh, why were these changes considered necessary? What are the main objectives, really?
Well, it's a policy change by the government of Jamaica. And what we're trying to do, or what the government and, of course, the agencies involved, what we're trying to do is to make things easier for persons. It is cost saving. It is a smoother transition in terms of getting your services accessible to you. And I'll give you a ripe example of this. So with this change as it relates to motor vehicle registration, we currently have where persons can renew their private motor vehicle online, because we have an online mechanism where that is concerned. However, because you were still needing to get the decal or the sticker as well as the printed certificate, although persons could do that process online, they would still have to come in office in order to pick up. Mind you, administratively, we had a quick window where they could pick up, and it was only offered at select offices, 6 select offices. Fast forward to this new mechanism where there's no more paper, as per the legislation, you will have a true online process that persons can now enjoy. So once they are renewing their private motor vehicle or white plates, for currently it's just for the renewal of private motor vehicles, they can do that online without having to step foot into any tax office. So we are encouraging persons to take advantage of this fundamental change where they will not even have to go into a tax office to renew their motor vehicle. So that is, in fact, a key benefit of this. But also inline, the processing will actually make it faster for persons. They won't need to have to present, because that's a fundamental change too. They will not need to present, or it will no longer be an offense not to have a certificate to present to the police.
Oh.
So that is one of the fundamental changes.
So the police stops you and asks you for it, and you have no way of verifying. Your cell phone is not on you, or its cell phone is down.
No. Let me take you back. It's not that you need to have a cell phone or you need to print it and walk with it. I mean, it may be wise for you to print it as a backup and just for your own.
It's not mandatory. It's not
right.
mandatory.
It's not mandatory because the police will be using their smart check device, which is their own cell phone, where they'll be able to log on to both the TAJ's database as well as the ITA's database to do the validation. So it's really from that point. So that also is one of the major benefits of this leapfrog into the digital world.
So I just want to make it clear: we don't have to print the stuff, the certificate.
You
right?
don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to.
But
So
if
they-
you want to keep it for your own peace of mind, you can print it and
For
keep
your
it.
own peace of mind, you can do that. But there's no need for you to do it.
Yeah, the law doesn't require that you print. You must print it.
Right. But Miss Horton, there are those who are saying no. The persons who are not as technologically savvy as others might be at a disadvantage, even in the initial process of verifying that you have actually been duly processed and authorized in terms of the certificate that you now have.
No, not at all. Because one of the things that I can just advise persons, let's say you come into the tax office, you need to have that email, and it's very important that persons need to have an email for this new process. But again, I emphasize that it does not need to be their own email. It can be an email of a friend, of a neighbor, of a child, of a grandchild that they have access to, or the person has access and can provide them with the information. Because remember here, they don't need to print it for their own peace of mind. They can, but remember, they will still be getting a receipt when they go to the tax office. On that receipt will be information that they can also use to log on to the certificate service portal to get the information. So they can download it, they can save it, they can send it to somebody, they can print it, but they do not need to have to drive with it, because the truth will be in the police being able to access our database. All the databases are now interlinked, so the police will be able to use their smart check app to validate.
Okay.
So paper or no paper, the police will be able to validate.
Okay. We're up on a break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
seen a lot of our customers make some good moves over the years. Whether it's sharing a hug with a friend you haven't seen in a long time or sharing a meal, Grace has been there. So let's keep making these moments together, because rest assured, every time you choose Grace, you know you're making a good move. Always a good move when you're moving with Grace.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, you know. I further my education and I make mama proud.
Save so you can make the par, travel par, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And this is the first watch. We are examining the changes in motor vehicle registration and fitness that are coming up in a couple days' time. And in so doing, we have online Mr. Dante Matthews, Communications Manager of Island Traffic Authority, Miss Mary's Horton, Chief Corporate Communications Officer at the Tax Administration of Jamaica. Mr. Matthews, Dante
Yes.
Matthews, with terms of the fitness, from your perspective, what are some of the major challenges you foresee as at July 21?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, there are some persons who are not tech savvy or the elderly who would want to know how they will benefit from this or how they'll get the support. So at the Island Traffic Authority, we actually have representatives in place to assist these persons. So we will have devices to help them in getting their reference numbers, right? And as Maris mentioned earlier, that it doesn't have to be their email address. It can be a family member. Once it's an active email address that they can have access to get their reference number, because that reference number is important to access the certificate.
So walk us through it, that part before you continue, Mr. Matthews. You enter the depot, for example.
Mm-hmm.
All you need is a reference number. You don't need to actually
No.
show it to anybody on your cell phone or your electronic device of sorts.
All right. So
You
when
need
they
to have a
come to
slip of
the
paper, nothing.
all right. So when they come to the service hub, they will need to come with the payment receipt from tax office.
You must
Right.
have the payment receipt.
Yes, that's a fitness fee. And just to note, Dr. Toussaint, there is no increase in the fees for the certificate of fitness. The fees remain the same regardless of the validity period. So the 5-year fitness, it's still the same fee. So if it's $4,500 for the private motor vehicle, if it's 5 years, it's still $4,500, one fee. It's not 5 times 4,500. It's just that one $4,500.
Okay.
All right. So when they come to the service hub with the receipt, they'll be given an inspection form or receipt to just write the email address on, and write the email address on, and the tax office receipt number that is given to the examiner. The examiner tests the vehicle, put the details on that inspection receipt, and hand it to the clerk at our hub. The clerk will then input the information onto the system, and then that's where the reference number will be sent to the email address that has been provided. When they get that email, when that email has been sent, for those who already have their mobile device on location, there's a Wi-Fi at the service hub. We have put in place Wi-Fi at our service hubs. So persons who don't have data, they'll be able to check on spot if their fitness has been received and if all the details are correct. If not, there's somebody who will assist. So let's say an elderly person comes and they don't have a phone, but they come with the email address, or they come without an email address. We will also assist them with that process as well. So they'll be able to leave knowing that their fitness has been received, and they'll also get back that inspection receipt that will have the portal and the reference number for them. So if they don't want to check it on location, when they go home to an internet cafe or a family member, they'll have the details to check. And they'll be able to view the certificate, download it, but they won't need to present it to the police. Insurance agencies will be able to validate it as well, so they won't need to print it and have it on their person.
Well, what if worst case scenario at the depot, The electricity goes, the backup system is not working. The motorist doesn't have the um, sorry, technology, whether cell phone or anything. In other words, nobody is able to verify that the information has been duly processed and they are okay. In a scenario like that, you're saying one has to wait until when you reach somewhere where you have Wi-Fi access, because if you reach and then dealing with that and realize there are errors, and you have your fitness going on the road, police stops you. I mean, how you deal with that situation?
Well, remember, the police won't stop you because they will have access to it. But if you get to a point where you leave
Police won't
the
stop you on the road?
no,
Anything?
they can stop you for your driver's license and your insurance, but not for fitness and registration because they'll be able to check that via the Smart Check app. So that's the change with that. You're not required to produce the physical documents. But just in case you're not able to check on location, it is the fitness is updated immediately. So the email will be sent. So whether or not you see it on location or off location, it will be uploaded in a matter of seconds. So, and then once you go on, you'll be able to check. And if there's an error, you can always come back to the service hub. But we, as I mentioned earlier, we do have Wi-Fi in place, and we do have assistance for persons who may want to get that help.
If you fail the fitness test, how do you be notified?
All right, so the defects or the issues will be noted on that inspection report or inspection receipt, and you'll be asked to remedy the defects and then come back to have the fitness generated. So it's important that the persons keep their receipt because the receipt would not have been used because we're waiting on you to remedy the defects before we can use that receipt.
And
so
just
it's
to be
important for
clear,
them to keep it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the receipt has to be a hard copy.
No, man, it can be, remember, you can pay for it online.
Yes, that's what I was wondering.
You'll come with it on your phone, but we want you to write the receipt number on the inspection form along with the email address so that we can have the correct information.
Yeah.
So it can be online, or it can be an online receipt, or it can be a printed receipt that you got in person from the TAJ.
Yes. Miss Horton, I know that of course the 21st has not yet come, but what are you picking up in terms of the public, if at all possible? Are persons excited about this? Are persons screaming already?
I can tell you that the persons are excited about the opportunity to do the motor vehicle registration online if they are renewing a private vehicle. We have already been getting a lot of positive feedback from persons that they now do not have to visit the tax office because they are now able to come to the 21st of July. They'll be able to renew their private motor vehicle. And again, that's the white plate. They'll be able to do that online without having to come to the tax office even to pick up something because there's no longer any paper to pick up. No more sticker, no more printed certificate. So they just do it online. They're able to then, if they so choose, they can go on to the certificate portal to download their electronic motor vehicle registration certificate. They can print it if they want to walk with it for their own peace of mind. So that's something that we have been getting a lot of positive feedback around. The second thing that we have been getting a lot of positive feedback around is the option of the 2 years. It means that they don't have to do this every year or every 6 months. They now have the option of doing it every 2 years.
That's the registration of the vehicle?
That's for the registration of the vehicle.
Okay.
So they have that option of 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years. So that's an option that they have to choose. And I know some persons have asked the question about cost, if there's an increase. There's no increase. The validity period of the 6 months, 12 months, 24 months is based on your option. So for a year, the cost is 12, and I'm giving you an example of a typical vehicle renewal, which is a 1200 cc vehicle, 1200 up to 2999 cc. That's 4,500 for a renewal. Sorry, not for the renewal. For the registration is 12,600, right? For the 12 months, you have the option of doing it for 6 months, which would be half of that, 6,300.
Yes.
You now will have the option of doing it for 2 years, which is twice the 12,600, which is 25,200. So that's the benefit. So that's what we're getting the buzz around, the excitement around. No more will they need to come into tax office renewing a private motor vehicle, and they can now do it for 24 months. So even that they don't have to do um, otherwise than every 2 years. So that's some of the positives that we have been hearing.
Yes. What about complaints? You have to come into the tax office to actually address that, or that can also be posited online.
Well, online, and we always have our customer care center, which
Mm-hmm.
is 888-829-4357. That such situations can be put to our customer care center where persons can do that, or they can call us, or they can through the website. And one of the things that I wanted to remind persons of, even for this, we currently have a web hub and information hub around the electronic motor vehicle registration. It's
Mm-hmm.
now available on our website, and our website is www.jamaicatax.gov.jm. And we have a number of frequently asked questions that are available. And these were built based on feedback that we have been getting, or questions that we anticipated that persons would have. So we already have that available to persons, so they can go onto our website and see the FAQs. Through that very same website, they will see the link to the certificate delivery system,
Mm-hmm.
where they'll be able to click on that button that says generate my electronic motor vehicle registration certificate, and it will take them into the portal that they can use the number that will be on their receipt or from their email to log in and to get their electronic motor vehicle registration certificate. But
Yeah.
if you'll permit me to allow for us to implement come the 21st of July, which is Monday, our current online motor vehicle registration service will be taken offline today at 5 p.m. So persons will not be able to do that online transaction as of 5 p.m. today. And this is to allow us to do the processing to get it online for Monday, from Monday.
And I
Also,
yes.
none of our offices will be open to the public this Saturday. We normally open at select offices on a Saturday, to include our Portmore office. But to facilitate the cutover activities, all our offices will be closed to the public this Saturday to allow for that. So
Okay.
just advising persons of that.
Okay. Dante Matthews, I think you're going to
Yes.
have the final word. While on one hand, of course, there are persons who are elated about this. There are some persons who are not so elated. I gather that there are some individuals who are now saying that the chances are they'll be stopped by the police more often on the roads, because without the decal being on the windscreen, the police now will have to stop you and then go into their phones to verify a lot of stuff. How do you respond to those concerns?
Well, regarding the decal, as Maris mentioned earlier, the police wouldn't need to stop you to check, right? Because they'll be able to do that via the smart check app. So they won't have to stop them to in order to check that. As I mentioned, they can check for the driver's license and the insurance, right? But as it relates to fitness, spot checks from time to time do happen. So the police, in collaboration with the ITA, will stop to ensure that the vehicle is in compliance with the certificate of fitness that is in force from time
No,
to
but what
time.
they're saying, Mr. Matthews, is that an officer would be able to, as is, right? As is now,
Mhm.
we would be able to look and to see that, hey, the decal is showing that this individual, the fitness has expired, or registration, whatever you call it, has expired. And now they are going to perhaps stop you first, go into your phones to verify a lot of things. Please respond to that concern.
Well, regarding that concern, the police, as I mentioned, and I'm sure Maris will agree, there won't be much stopping, and they won't need to ask you for that, because they'll be able to check by using your registration plate number. So they won't have to stop you in order to go in the phone. Once they have access to your registration plate number, that will suffice in terms of checking the system. So if for some reason they check it from afar and they realize that it has expired, then in that case they will stop you. But you won't need to worry about being stopped too much unless you have committed a violation in terms of speeding, overtaking, or you're using a cell phone or not wearing your seatbelt. In that case, you will be stopped.
Okay. Thanks for the assurance. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Have a safe and productive day and all the best with the rollout.
All right. Thank you very much.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Start your journey with a Jane Small Business Loan with small business loans as little as $10,000 and up to $4 million. The time by Jane Small Business Loan is
7:30.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
Tell them cut the plastic. See, our one country we have, and we have to preserve it for future generation. The government had to feed them part with phase 4 of the ban on single-use plastic. That mean me won't get my lunch in a plastic container, and me so gonna stop use certain cosmetic personal care items. Boy, big changes. But we want me pick them to enjoy this country, so me I go all in a phase 4. Support the ban.
A message from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Hoi there! It's back to school and Bashco has it all for you! Get all your school supplies at any of our Bashco locations island-wide. We have pencils, pens, markers, rulers, crayons. Since Bashco has all the school supplies for all ages. Folders, school bags, notebooks, erasers, staplers. Oi! And the prices are nice and low. Have a great first day with Bashco, the store that gives you more. Bashco.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing in the Observer. Pervert cabbie's sick obsession. Report says dad showed no remorse after raping 3 girls, including his daughter. 2 women charged. US-based pastor sought in connection with mummified body. My goodness. In the Gleaner, Jamaican government says it hasn't refused the return of any citizen from the US, and the 2029 completion date targeted for redeveloped National Stadium. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. Are you looking forward to the changes in motor vehicle registration and the fitness process? Why or why not? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We will be right back.
You know what's sweet? The new pack Sweet Living promotion. Win great prizes. Living room set, or bedroom set, or kitchen appliance set. Plus 2 consolation prizes of AC units. Send in 5 new pack labels or receipts. Labels must belong to at least the new pack canned beans or peas, new pack ketchup, and new pack oil categories. Fill out the tagline. New pack, more than just value. Place your entry in one of the drop boxes at participating outlets. Enter by mail or online at newpackjamaica.com. Time to live sweet. Enter the new pack Sweet Living promotion. July 13th to September 6th. See the press for more details. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Forget ordinary, think Liquimolly. Get a 15% discount on all Liquimolly oils and additives from April 25th to July 30th at all Burt's Auto Parts locations. Buy 4 or more Liquimolly engine oils or 4 transmission oils, you get a free LM40 all-purpose cleaner. But hurry up, the offer runs while stocks last and conditions apply. Forget ordinary, think Liquimolly. And remember, it hurts if you don't check Burt's.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. Are you looking forward to the changes in motor vehicle registration and fitness process? Why or why not? Jokal.
All right, so we have some responses here. Edna in Montego Bay. Let's hear from her.
Good morning, Wash. Good morning, Love 101 listeners and staff. Well, I think the change is a good thing, because the world is going digital now. So why not? You make it easier. Sometimes go to the tax office, it's really jump pack. So make it easier. You can do things in the comfort of your home. You understand? I think that is a good venture. All the best with it. I hope that there will be no glitches or no glitches. All right?
All right, thank you, Edna. I'm seeing Hyacinth Campbell Daly says interesting, except they should phase out this new system, not just enforce it so impromptu. All right, thank you so much. I'm seeing a response from CC. Let's see. All right, it's loading. So while that loads, Sherry in Spanish Town says, whether we want to move forward, willing or not, that's where the world is heading. Now everything is going into technology. For those who are not technologically inclined or savvy, it is quite obvious these persons will be left behind if they don't have someone to have the patience to guide them through. That's the reality of technology. There will always be fear. There will always be questions. So yes, those are our responses so far.
All right, interesting responses. Thank you all for doing so. As we segue into the second watch, the fact is that no date has been announced, but the race is off. And for some, the rules are not being adhered to. But what are these rules for political campaigning? How are they being monitored? And what are the consequences, if and when breached? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have online, is it Lafron Thompson, Registrar? You're right, Registrar of Political Parties from the EOJ. Good morning to you, Ms. Thompson.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. For those who do not know or may have forgotten, please tell us about the roles and responsibilities of the Registrar of Political Parties.
Okay, the Registrar of Political Parties is an administrative officer at the Electoral Commission of Jamaica responsible for monitoring political parties' compliance with the rules of reporting for registration and compliance with the general regulations that govern their administering their registration to participate in political activities, to be participant at elections, to report spending in terms of campaign financing, and also their financial reporting in each annual year,
Mm-hmm.
together with compliance with the political code of conduct.
And how long has this been in place?
Well, the regulations for political parties registration came about in 2016. And further to that, then election campaign financing regulations were established in the year following.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of regulatory framework for political parties has been in place at the Electoral Commission since approximately 2016, when this office was established.
And for the record, how do these roles and responsibilities differ from that of the political ombudsman that has now been, fused into another organization?
Well, the political ombudsman is that neutral voice who was posed to monitor political activity, to ensure that political actors subscribe with the code of political conduct, and to be that neutral mediator and monitor of interactions between political factions or political groupings, right? To see that it is peaceful, that it is respectful, and that person stands as an arbiter between contending sides. The fact that this has come to the Electoral Commission, I think it has dipped right into the framework of electoral governance and monitoring that we conduct here at the Commission. So it is a rightful fit, I think, and it is being put in place where we can respond quickly, and it is within the framework of things that we administer here generally, so that the public has a place in which they could lodge their complaints, they could air grosses, and it is that we are able to mediate, we are able to intervene at times to de-escalate issues that may be conflicting among the parties.
Okay. Well, in a nutshell, what are the directives that have been or are being posited to the political parties in Jamaica today?
Well, the directive is that we encourage adherence to the code and that we treat with the
Pause a while
Jamaican...
there, please, Ms. Thompson. The code.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
The political code of conduct establishes the mode of operation for political parties and their supporters. It is that it promotes respect for human rights in general, for the rights and freedoms of all to participate in this democratic process. It eschews violence, intimidation, and conflicting interactions between supporters and political parties. And it is that we abuse things such as abusive language, accusations, or vandalism in the public space. These things are discouraged. It ought not to be. Under the political code of conduct, there's an agreement as of how we would behave to promote the values of democracy, the freedoms of democracy, and that we'd have peaceful interaction that is respectful and accommodating of opposing views in this a democratic framework.
Yes. And well, you wanted to say more about, I think I had stopped you in terms of the directives that were actually given. Would you like to say more on those directives to the political parties?
The political parties are encouraged or admonished to adhere to the rules of the political code of conduct. It is that we promote nonviolence, that you are respectful and peaceful in campaigning. Supporters of political parties are encouraged to respect private and public property. There should be no destruction of political paraphernalia. And there should be equal access of persons to public spaces and in the public forum for politicking or promoting candidacies of their choice.
Yes. And
at this point, the commission is interested in, we're educating, we're observing, and we're intervening at times into the acts of and reports of violence that are coming into the office. So it is that we have persons in the different constituencies and divisions who are observing and providing report to us. And we have our teams who are dispatched in these areas to observe, to get to be on the ground, to have first-hand observation of happenings and to allow us to plan for modes of intervention that would be useful for allaying or dissipating conflicts that are arising, especially at this time when persons anticipate an election.
Yes, conflicts that are arising at this time. Okay, we are so near to a break. Let me just take that break now. And on the other side of the break, we'll be looking more on how these directives were crafted. Soon, come back.
This Thursday, July 17, on the Truly Marvelous program, To Have and To Hold with Dr. Colleen Beckles and co-host Andre Allen Casey. We're diving even deeper into part 2 of the series, Executing and Improving Emotional Intelligence, a critical skill for couples who want to grow stronger, not just stay together. How do you respond when emotions run high? Are you able to understand your partner's feelings without becoming defensive and shutting down? Let's explore how to turn emotional tension into deeper connection. Don't miss it. Tune in this Thursday 5:30 p.m. on the Truly Marvelous program to have and to hold. Only on the family station, Love 101.
I'm gonna sing of the goodness.
Get your CC Winans tickets right here at Love 101, 81 Hagley Park Road. $6,000 regular and $20,000 VIP. Don't miss out!
The time by Grace Could Move is
7:45.
Hurricane season is here. Is your property underinsured? If your policy hasn't been updated in years, you are at risk. One hurricane and you could be paying millions out of pocket. Don't get caught off guard. Know your property's value. Talk to your insurance provider today. Check it, value it, insure it. Real value, real coverage. A message from the Insurance Association of Jamaica, protecting what matters most.
Jamaica, your favorite gospel show on television, the Jamaica Gospel Star, is now on TVJ. God's people on the move. Tune in for powerful performances to lift your spirit and move your soul. 10 finalists, 4 elimination rounds. When the dust settles, only one will be left standing as the 2025 Jamaica Gospel Star. Sundays, 8 p.m. on TVJ. Powered by Sagicor. Building trust one generation at a time.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and this is the second watch. We're looking on the rules of engagement and directives from the Registrar of Political Parties. And of course, in so doing, we have online Ms. Lafron Thompson, Registrar of Political Parties. And welcome again to you, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you.
Great. Now we're talking about those directives, and as we drill down in this whole matter, how were they crafted? Were the political parties a part of the process, or were they excluded and then just told that these are the directives?
Well, the directives in terms of the political code of conduct, it's really an agreement on and declaration on political conduct that was agreed to, brought into effect at the signing and declaration of political leaders as far back as in 2005 when this was established. So it was that a system of consultation would have occurred, and back then it might have been the EAC as they had it then, the electoral, before it was a commission, the EAC was called. So within that framework, there's always been consultation between the political parties. Then we had 2 recognized or prominent political parties, as you know, and they were the signatories. But within the very agreement, it extends to being relevant to all pertinent, all relevant political parties in Jamaica. And as you know, currently we have 4 registered political parties. And
Right.
that the commission being moving in time with the environment and the society that we exist, in recognition of these 4 registered political parties, there have been amendments to the code to outline and to incorporate in vocally or in the words of the code, the encompassing of these other recognized political parties. So the question is whether they were party to the agreement or part of the process indeed. And there's consideration also for developments in the law and the society that would incorporate other leaders, other political parties being registered and coming to the fore.
Yes. So you mentioned about the amendments. How is that done? What's the process there? What if next year, a party believes that there needs to be an exclusion of some of the clauses or an inclusion? How is that done?
Well, first it moves from the discussion at the table to the commission, and they have the responsibility to make recommendations to the parliament, who may or may not accept these recommendations. Of course, they're based on research that which is relevant to practice and pertinent to the field. As you know, the framework of the commission also has there the involvement of independent commissioners and, of course, the nominated commissioners who are sitting there in representation of the governing political parties, as in there's one in government and there's one in opposition, which forms the democracy that we operate in. So those two voices are articulated at the table. And of course, the independent commissioners function to be the eyes and ears of us, the public, in this discussion of our political affairs.
Right. What has been the general response, though, from the political parties to these directives that you have shared so far, generally speaking?
There's general agreement between the political parties and on the importance of complying with the code and also being seen to be observant of the rules. You will appreciate that persons who are lodging complaints are more vocal and active in the process. And of course, you'll have respondents who remain within the timeline for which they must present their responses. And so far, we have gotten our responses in some cases. So the investigations of cases are continuing. And I'd say that there is more over cooperation than there are missteps as it relates to political code of conduct.
And are there penalties for breach?
First up, we must recognize or admit that the political ombudsman is not, the statute itself is it's not a criminal statute. We don't have criminal penalties to impose. But that which is possible is that the political ombudsman may issue public statements of censure. You may give directives to organizations and entities to carry out specific actions that are in line with the values held within the society. And it is that every political party or a candidate is wanting to see at this time to be compliant. It is important for their public accountability to be in conformity with what the rules are. And of course, the public that they serve may hold them accountable to say that if you are not subscribing to the rules that you have here sat and agreed to, then what might I expect of you in the long run for governance and other standards that we hold dear as a society. So it is to say that, yes, they are more over compliant for what the public effect of non-compliance might spell for their candidacy and success in the political sphere.
Yes. Isn't that, though, where persons might argue that the registrar and the political ombudsman ends up being like a toothless tiger, because if there are no legal statutory expectations and they're in breaches, then persons will continue to do what they want to do and perhaps just say I'm sorry and do it again a couple of years after.
I don't agree with it. I don't see it as such. The role and office of the political ombudsman is absolutely necessary, more than ever. It is that the ombudsman provides an impartial channel for addressing political misconduct outside of the courts or by public confrontation. It helps to de-escalate conflicts where they arise. It promotes fair play, and it protects public confidence as political rhetoric intensifies at this time. I think Jamaica needs that neutral voice to call for civility and to hold our leaders accountable. And it is in our expressions of deriding certain kinds of conduct, reminding what are the standards of behaving, really being that voice of reason at this time, that this office serves as a function. It is an office that is necessary, and it's an office required, and it is an office really valued and asked for by the Jamaican public, especially as it relates to upholding democratic principles.
Yeah. What do you say to those who say that you really don't have anything to lose if it becomes a civil statute? rather than just leaving it the way it is. There's nothing to lose, really. In fact, some might argue you have more to gain because
Mhm.
persons will now realize that, hey, you have to be careful because you might be breaching the law.
Well, there's always been the advocacy for the strengthening of the law related to the office of the political ombudsman, that the office may be able to impose fines and penalties, etc. And that is always a positive. Where a law is strengthened and that persons are forced to act or to comply, then there absolutely isn't a negative to that. And so it is hoped that perhaps in the future that this office, the framework of the political ombudsman will be strengthened as to have our political actors being more compliant and being induced to really obey willingly and consistently what are the rules of the political code of conduct. Yes.
Yes. And of course, the elephant in the room, I have to mention it because it's an interview program. What do you say to those who are still uncomfortable with the new arrangement in regards to how the political ombudsman would operate? That is no longer apparently an individual, but is a part of an organization. What's your take on that? How you respond to those concerns that are still out there?
The role of the political ombudsman remains the same, that of upholding the standards of political conduct and ensuring that there's a level playing field, right?
But not the person.
No,
It's not in terms of an individual that you can hold accountable.
what do you say? Let me get
That's
that
a
again.
person, right? You'd have a political ombudsman as an individual that you could
Yes.
you could write. They're
Uh-huh.
saying now that the changes that have been made, there are concerns about that. What's your take on that?
The change is that the office has now been subsumed by the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. So now under the Electoral Commission, we're better integrated with the electoral framework, and that is allowing for us to respond more systematically to issues. We monitor campaigns, we investigate complaints, we issue guidance on what is required in electoral operations and observing the rules of the political code of conduct. We are able to engage directly with the political parties and to resolve issues early and fairly. And let me say that we have a history of working together, the Electoral Commission and the Office of the Political Ombudsman. It is that at each election, and there would have been consultations between both entities as of how we monitor election campaign. Election campaign financing was the portfolio of the commission. However, at times it would have been mentioned in the outlook of the political ombudsman. Of course, there was this cooperation and intervening conversations about the behavior of political actors in the public, because it is that both our offices have the similar concern of good political conduct and interaction between our citizens and political actors. So it is almost as though the function of the ombudsman has come home, for want of a better way of saying it.
Come home. Okay. Recent incidents in terms of two of our politicians on both sides of the political divide in terms of the use of obscene language.
Yes.
There are no, legal statutes there in terms of the law. How does your registrar deal with that, and also the political ombudsman? What are we to expect in terms of an outcome?
Of course, first, for violations of the political code of conduct, and even in the public sphere, it moves from the point of a discussion, and there's opportunity to make correction or restitution, an apology, to withdraw a statement, etc. However, wherein laws are broken, there is always the option to have matters reported to the police and or to the Director of Public Prosecution for further prosecution. That is the absolute truth. For the mentions of expletives, of course, the commission would have spoken that this kind of unrestraint, unrestraint is not acceptable, and they promote composure, civility, and peaceful interactions. And of course, in the public sphere, the incidents of expletive use would have been addressed, and the parties apologetic, and it is taken that there ought not to be a repeat of such. And of course, a similar remarks and more will take place if there is a continued rise or repetition of this kind of action.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you so very much for informing us, and let us know more from your perspective how things are going. All the best going forward, especially in this so-called silly season, Miss Thompson.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. For information, how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. Of course, this has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I'm Dylan Toussaint, reminding you to be purposeful, faithful, thankful, and of course, watchful as I return you to Love in the Morning.
Truth is, you can live life to the fullest with HIV. This time signal is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The time is
8 a.m. and you're now invited to listen to Forward in Faith, brought to you by